Welcoming traveler. Get ready to level up in fantasy football.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good people. What is going on? It is FF Mike Cash, and I'm joined by a special guest tonight, FF Snoog. Snoog, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. I'm finally happy to jump on here and talk some Xavier Worthy with you. I know we've been going back and forth in the DMs, kind of connected a bit this year for the first time. So excited that I got to meet you and talk ball with you.
Yeah, I'm always down to flirt virtually with other football guys. Real quick, tell people who you are, where they can find you, and some of the stuff you're working on in the fantasy football.
Yeah, so my real name's Alex. Everybody calls me Snoog. That's just kind of the clicky thing on Twitter. But you can find me on Twitter at FF Snoog. My Patreon's in the bio. You can find my podcast in there as well. Smash Accept Podcast. I do it with Dynasty Dad. It's been good doing that. I've been doing that for a bit now. We cover all Dynasty. During the season, we kind of cater it towards just fantasy football in general, redraft included. And now, right now, it's rookie time. That's all we're doing. That's all I do. That's what I watch all day. And that's what I kind of grade and analyze all day is these rookies and how we can be and give you guys the best rankings possible. So that's kind of what me and Mike are going to do here is dive into some film on Xavier Worthy. So I'm excited. A guy that I've liked since he was a true freshman. I got some old receipts on him. He was my wide receiver one in the class at the time. I didn't really know much about Marv at the time until Marv came onto the scene after the Rose Bowl game where he had like 3 touchdowns and like 160 yards when Garrett Wilson and Olave opted out. But big Worthy guy over here.
Yeah, nothing like sneaking under the radar with the name Marvin Harrison Jr. Really came out of nowhere with that one. No idea how we missed him. But yeah, no, I'm excited to talk ball with you. We have a couple of clips that we're going to talk through. But first, I really want to, you do some great threads going through your prospects and trying to figure out who's good, who's not, and who people should be spending their dynasty picks on. Walk me through your scouting process and what you're looking for in wide receivers specifically.
Yeah, so I used to be like fully film driven. Like that was all I did. I trusted my eyes. That was my process. That's what I did in the 2022 class. Led me to Garrett Wilson, wide receiver one. Massive fan of him. And it honestly helped. It helped me pick out guys like Chris Olave, who were analytic outliers, and George Pickens as well. Like those 2 guys I was also really high on. I did like Treylon Burks, so I can't say I didn't like him. I know he was an analytic darling for everybody, so I did miss on Treylon Burks as well. But I just do want to say, like, trust your eyes, because analytics led me to Quentin Johnston last year, and at first I said, like, this guy is not good. I don't see it with him. And then I talked myself into him, watched more of him, started to see the upside, and saw that just the yak analytics was through the roof at his size. So right now, I'm kind of like 70-30, I'd say, maybe 65-35. Analytics more driven on wideouts. Running backs, it's more the eye test for me. But I really like to focus on like the key metrics, like yards per out run, yards per team pass attempt. I do like to look out breakout age, but I think breakout age only matters if you get better after that. If you're a true freshman and you kind of pop off and then do nothing, it's like, all right, you got worse. Like I want to see you progress throughout your career. And Worthy did, honestly. Worthy got better, or at least like played at the same level throughout his career. So that's something I'm excited about with him. But basically my process is, what I like to do is I like to dive through all the bigger name wide receivers that like people are talking about film wise. I'll watch like usually like 8 to 10 games that I can find cut ups of them, all routes ran in that game. And then I like to go through after that and I'll watch a few highlight tapes to kind of see if like the strengths and weaknesses that I writ down while I was watching those games kind of match like what they're doing consistently as like big plays. And I found that really helped a lot. And then I'll kind of run them through like an analytic model. I'll compare them on campus and then the metric plots and kind of get a feel for like how they compare against each other analytically. And then I'll kind of do it like I'll find comps for them, like stylistic comps I like to see. Like I comped Worthy to kind of like a Tank Dell, Jordan Addison type. And I went through and I compared his career to them as college players. So stuff like that has just helped me a lot throughout the process, kind of get a good feel for, especially at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. No, I love the idea of blending analytics and film. Like the numbers can only tell you so much. And the film can also only tell you so much. Like sometimes you're looking at these guys, you see, these huge highlight plays. You see some really exciting things on the all-22 tape, and then you go and actually compare the numbers, and you're like, why is this not hitting the things it's supposed to be? Or even worse, you'll see that they're doing it, and they're doing it like at New Hampshire, or they're doing it at a school that doesn't really matter that much. So the level of competition definitely drives some things for the spreadsheet nerds, which I also hang out in the spreadsheets a little bit. So
Yeah, same. You have to.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get to what everybody is excited about. Nobody wants to listen to us talk. They want to and watch Xavier Worthy.
This
Real
play.
quick. I mean, right off the bat, we're going to talk about his deep ball tracking. So I do not think that there's a better deep ball tracker in the class. And that's saying something, because there's some elite deep ball trackers. You're talking about Troy Franklin. You're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, his ability, this against Alabama, first of all, he gets open deep, which exceptional. I don't know how many people played football, but like trying to track this ball up and over like that is an exceptionally difficult play, and the ability to do it against Alabama makes it even better. So.
Incredible play. I think I threw my phone and screamed at the TV when this happened because I was so excited. I had money on Texas in that game.
Yeah. I bet you won a lot of money there.
Yeah, making that play, creating that separation deep on a guy like Caleb Downs too. That's a first-round talent, arguably the best safety in all of college football, and making that type of play deep on him with him on your back is incredible. And what a moon ball by Quinn Ewers, just putting that out there. Just a sky ball, and Worthy's sitting there like tracking it for like 10 seconds.
That arm talent is crazy on Ewers, but we'll see how it goes next year. Next up, we're going to talk about some of his double moves. I mean, this is a clip that you sent to me. The way to sell that post and then immediately dip back to the corner. When I see him in the intermediate range, Matt Cooper, which if you guys aren't following him, Debbie the Dynasty film room, great guy. He comped him to Deontay Johnson. Like,
I like that.
Tell me you don't see a little Deontay Johnson in the hip sync and the head fake like that.
Yeah, I see that. Fluid, natural mover, nuanced route runner. I see that a lot. Definitely. Deontay is really good at selling his routes, especially on like double moves like that. I feel like I've seen Deontay make a lot of plays in the NFL on those type of routes. I love how he sells that route and just can quickly flip his hips and get back to the corner, and he creates so much separation there.
Yeah. I wish we had like the from behind angle.
I know. I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere for it because I wanted to like see the DB. I bet you like he spins around because he just gets broken.
Yeah, poor guy. And then hit another one, stop and go route. I mean, Worthy sells his vertical routes so well that when he does come back this corner, he never stood a chance. And then just fights through the contact, strong at the catch point. Like, there's all sorts of things to love there. What do you love specifically about this clip?
I just love the stop ability, like the acceleration from him. People talk about him probably being the fastest runner in the 40 at the draft, and I honestly think there's a real possibility. He goes from like 0 to 100. I don't know if you have the clip of him against Oklahoma his true freshman year on the first play of the game where he catches that bubble screen and like 80 yards to the house. He just has burners, and his 0 to 100 is so fast. I think he was like a 10.5 100-meter track guy, which is like, I think it translates to like 4 threes. And that was when he was like 17 years old, I think, or 16 years old. I saw
10.55 PR.
Yeah.
That's
when he's not at playing at the highest level of D1 for a really good program. Like I really think that he was a track star, so that means he's got the form, he's got the technique. It makes sense why he's such a good long sprinter on the football field as well.
Yeah. You gave me the inside scoop. I mean, are we allowed to talk about this on air? Like, do you know who he's working with for his 40 time?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to tell everybody like
Expo Sports. I only know it's no inside scoop really. I just know it because I stalk all their Instagram pages and I see who's tagging them because I want to see like all the workout videos, kind of what they're doing and stuff. So
yeah,
nerdy of me, but yeah, him, Troy Franklin, Javon Baker, they're all working for or running routes, working out with them. And I know Troy Franklin was running his 40. Troy Franklin's been vlogging it and YouTubing it, and he was like talking in the background. and you can like see Xavier Worthy line up and like just fly out of his stance, like out of like the corner of the camera. You don't get you only see like the first 4 or 5 steps, but man, he's fast. I'm excited. I think he's gonna run really good.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that out of the blocks quickness it shows. A little segue, nice.
Yeah,
Right into this whip route. I mean, this whip route, it's gonna feed families.
It really
gets
is.
me so fired up. But the way that he sells the inside on this, stops on a dime and then immediately comes out like that.
He had no chance. DB had 0 chance. There's nothing he could have done.
Or corner. Like
there's not. I don't think any corner is sticking on Worthy on that play.
No.
The footwork is incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no wasted movement with Worthy, which is crazy. Normally, you see these guys that are really fast and really the burners. They leave a lot to be desired in this range because they're just, I'm going to run straight. Nobody's going to catch me. He is an advanced route runner. Like, this isn't just a burner. This isn't just a James Williams. This is a real receiver.
I'm like this close to putting him at 4 in my rankings. Like, I just think Brian Thomas Jr. is like almost penciled in as like a top 25 pick, and it's like all the draft analysts are so high on him. And I really liked his film as well. So I like wake up one day and it's Thomas, wake up one day it's Franklin, wake up one day it's Worthy. So I have a tier of those 3, like I was telling you before the show. But there's a real world where post combine we get the measures, we see them run on field, we see more of them and what they've been working on in the off season. And I could wake up and say, all right, I'm going with Worthy as my 4. He's a first round. I have a first round grade on him anyways, but
it's tough. I think there's 6 or 7 receivers you could have a first round grade on this draft.
Yeah,
if not 8 or 9. Like,
I think this class could set the record. If there's going to be a class that does, it's this class because it's kind of weak defense. I think it's really weak defensively, honestly. And
at edge specifically, yeah.
And that's like the premium positions. It's like wide receiver is a premium position, and this is one of the best wide receiver classes ever. Why shouldn't there be 6 or 7 or 8 wideouts taken if there were 6 taken in 2022?
Yeah, I mean, would you rather go ahead and spend big money on somebody in free agency, overspend on a Christian Kirk this year's version?
Exactly.
Or just draft Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, and you get the 5th-year option with Worthy because he's a first-round pick, so that's even more of a plus.
This is something that I didn't expect to see, but I mean, Texas. I watch a lot of Texas. This is obvious by the hat and the jersey, but like they love their bubble screens, and sometimes Worthy gets blown up because he's a slight build. But if you give him the ball in space, like he's kind of a nightmare for defenders. Like he takes the route running ability. Just that's tough. That's tough. This guy thought he had a beat on him, and I think I repeated this one. So yeah,
unreal. The footwork, you almost see like a little bit of Tank Dell shades in his game, with just like how he's just super quick in the short areas, how he makes plays downfield. Like I think that's a good comp, and I think weight wise they'll probably be both similar. I think Worthy's gonna probably be like 170 pounds. Like all the on the field videos I've been watching of him, he's running around with his shirt off, and he doesn't look like a big guy at all. Like it's that just realistic about it. So
I would love for him to add 10 to 15 pounds, which I'm sure he will once he gets a good NFL weight room.
Yeah.
But right now he's a little.
He's going to come in light for the combine because he's going to try to run the doors off the 40 time. But if he's 170, 175, perfect. Addison did it. Like a lot of wide receivers can win, especially now in the NFL. Devontae Smith at that weight, especially when you're fast like him and you have this level of nuance route running.
Yeah. Something I really want to hit here. So this is out route against, I think it's Kentucky if I remember right. And so I slow it down after the first run through. He sells his vertical and then he sticks his foot in the ground. You can see overextend, plant. Like that is teach tape for how to run a deep out. And just his ability to like really get that plant, get the sell, and create separation there. Like it's just not fair for the corner. I don't know what the corner's supposed to do there.
Spin around and try to make the tackle.
Oh, also another thing I love here, he doesn't go out of bounds. He was like, "Nah, I'm getting these extra."
And then
yards.
he tries to just run through the guy's face. I noticed that when watching his film, is he does not shy from contact. There was a play against Bama where there was 2 defenders and he just like bounced off both of them and like stays in bounds and gets the first down. It's like, where does he rank as a route runner for you in this class? Like if you had to pick a top 3, would he be in it?
Well,
you gotta give it a lad.
You got to give it to Lad.
Lad's gonna be in there.
You got to give it to Rome. And then I think you got to give it to Marv.
Yeah.
So I think Worthy's a firm 4 to 5 range.
Yeah.
Which is tough because he's amazing.
Yeah, Rome is really, really good at it. Yeah,
But,
I think that's my 4. Definitely, that's my big 4. Like that's what I would give. I think you could probably argue like Worthy with some of them, but like I think the other ones are more complete, like at all 3 levels as a route runner, which is good. Yeah.
I love the short area quickness. I love the top of the break on his in breaking and out breaking routes. I thought it was weird. He leaves a little to be desired at the post and like the true deep routes. It's just speed right now. He's just running.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but that's not going to work at the NFL. I think a receiver coach is going to get their hands on him and turn him into an absolute monster.
I would. Yeah. I think he would be great in like a Kansas City or a Buffalo, because Gabe Davis is good at one thing, and it's just beating zone. Like Worthy's actually a nuanced route runner. He's good after the catch, and he's great deep, and he has that speed. So I think him with a strong armed quarterback, or seeing him fall to day 2, early day 2, going to the Chargers in the early second round, or even Carolina with Bryce Young. Bryce Young's still got a decent arm. He's got good accuracy downfield. I think any situation like that where he's going to be given the opportunity to make plays downfield consistently, he'll excel.
I think that he would be the one in Carolina tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's eating the ghost of Adam Thielen for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then in LA, he would be a super fun 2 or 3, depending on how Mike Williams recovers or if he's in there.
Unless LaVisca turns into Deebo Samuel like he was supposed to the past 6 years. But
yeah, like LaVisca or Jonathan Mingo or this draft. There's a couple.
Yeah.
They'll throw shade at those guys.
2 guys, yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about, so where do you think that he gets drafted? Like, where do you expect him to get drafted? I know we talked a couple like late first, early second. Do you think that he's somewhere in that 20 to 35 range, or do you think he rises after an exceptional combat?
I think he's in the top 30. Like, if I created and crafted up a big board of just all players in this class, he would be in the top, like, 32. Okay. So I think he's worthy of a first-round pick. I also am kind of, I don't know if it's my fantasy football dynasty like bias, but I think the wide receiver position is like so incredibly valuable in the NFL. I think it's edge, quarterback, tackle, and wide out and corner. Like those are the 5 big positions that you need to prioritize. And there's so many teams that are lacking a true number 2 receiver or need a one. Like you got Carolina, you got New England. They're both in that early, like first 2 picks of the second round where they can move up into the first. You got the Chiefs that desperately need a number 2. You got the Bills that desperately need a number 2. The Ravens desperately need a number 2. You have potentially the Jaguars who need like a 1 or a 1B there with Kirk. They're going to lose Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley potentially. And then you got the Bengals who might lose T. Higgins. Like there's so many teams that are high caliber passing offenses. You got the Chargers who are probably cutting Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen's like 35 years old. So it's like there's so many high caliber passing teams that are in the position where they need like a guy like that, or they need to take an opportunity shot on Troy Franklin or Brian Thomas or Worthy. And I think just the speed in today's game with the yak ability is way too valuable to pass up on, especially in that late first. It's like the wide receiver position, with Mike Evans probably going to get like 20 mil a year, something crazy. Like, these wide outs absolutely paid. Look what Juju got last year for the Patriots. It's like, would you rather take one of those just like mediocre, like number 3s and try to make them a 2? Or would you rather take Worthy with your late first and get the 5th-year option with him and have him for so much cheaper than what it would be to sign a wide out in free agency? So I just think the value's there.
It's a great point. So we talk about like the rookie window for quarterbacks, like really trying to maximize on a rookie contract. I went through and I looked at some of the top paid positions and broke it down by like truly the top 10 at that position, because those are the true difference makers. Mm-hmm. Number 1, highest paid quarterback, obviously. Number 2, you'd expect to be like edge rusher or tackle. It's actually wide receiver right now. So wide receiver rookie contracts are becoming a premium. And if you can go get Xavier Worthy and maybe try to do the A.J. Brown, Treylon Burks trade, but actually hit on your receiver.
Yeah, literally. That was bad.
Yeah, it's tough. So if he ends up going, let's say, top of the second to the Chargers, where are you comfortable taking him in your dynasty drafts? Like 1-0?
108. He'd be my
Not even-
108. Not
not
even a
even
question. I don't care if he goes. If he went early second to the Chargers and like Franklin and Thomas both went round 1, unless Thomas went to like Cincinnati or Jacksonville, I think I would take Worthy over him. Like I would just, the scheme fit. We saw Justin Herbert make Jalen Guyton look like he was decent. So it's like, imagine what Worthy would be like.
Yeah.
Like, landing spot sways a lot. Like even when you're a bad prospect and you get a good landing spot, okay, like I'm fine with staying firm on this player's not good. Like a Mingo, where I go, he gets Bryce Young, all this. He stinks. Like he was just bad.
Yeah.
We just had to take that. But like when you got like Rashee Rice or like a Jaden Reed, who was actually like a pretty good like sleeper player, go to a team with a good quarterback and a good landing spot, they excel. So that's why I think Worthy to the Chargers would be just phenomenal.
Yeah. It would be awesome. I unfortunately last year was very out on QJ. And then he
I
went to the
wasn't, so
Chargers.
that's why it sucked. But I only had one share across 22 leagues because I was just so many people loved him and thought he was like so valuable. And he was my number 2, but I didn't like value him like that. So I was flipping him for like Drake London, flipping him for all like. So I literally had one share of him in a $200 league, which sucks. But I like hit on Tank Dell and some other studs late in the startup draft. So it's like take my L, but I luckily dodged the bullet there with him, even though I was high on him. Blessed in disguise.
Definitely could be worse.
Yeah.
But that wraps up our Xavier Worthy chat. Snoog, thanks so much for joining me. It's fun talking ball with you, and I hope you had a good time too. You want to give the people one last chance, tell them where to find you, tell them what you're working on, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, you can just follow me at FF Snoog on Twitter. My DMs are open 24/7. I try to get through them as quick as possible. You can find all my rankings there. I have my Patreon link in the bio, my podcast link in the bio. I'm going to be posting tons of threads, pre-combine rankings. My process stays fluid. So like you'll get a post-combine rankings, you'll get a post-draft rankings, and then you'll probably get like a before the season start rankings of all the positions. I try to primarily focus on wide receiver, running back, just because like quarterback, it's like, I don't know. I just don't really care too much unless I really like a quarterback. Then I'll go head and shoulders out of the way for them. Like I was big on Richardson, Stroud, and Bryce Young. So like that class, I was like really excited to talk about consistently. And I kind of valued all those guys really good. I'm going to dive into them. I'm going to talk about Drake May, Jaden Daniels, all that. But right now it's just, I can't stop watching these wideouts and talking about these wide receivers. So that's where my focus is, at least pre-combine. Then I'll get interesting. I'll dive into some other positions. But
sweet. And as always, you guys know where to find me at FFMikeCash, or just go to the Discord. You guys know where it's at. Be sure to subscribe. Peace.